Tell us something about Fethullah Gulen and his movement.
He began his career as a preacher in Turkey, but in the end, he finished it as the leader of a terrorist group because he attempted a failed coup. He was such a figure for his followers. But when with the coup attempt and also some events just before the coup, people understood that it was not about religion. It was not about serving the country.
His departure to the United States is a complete 90-degree U-turn from his ideas and thoughts. Tell us something that what led to his departure from Turkey to United States.
According to his own confessions, he said that he was collaborating with the CIA. He also ordered his followers to drink wine to hide themselves in army. He used religion as a means to fulfill his own personal goals.
The Gulen movement extended into different parts of the Muslim world. So how he extended his movement's network into the different parts of the Muslim world, particularly in Pakistan?
But in general, they were almost everywhere, and they themselves confessed that they are acting together with CIA to spread moderate Islam.
What do you think? After his death, will he be remembered in Turkey's religious and political circles, or people will forget him and his ideology?
People will certainly forget him because it is a characteristic of being human being. You forget everything.
Where Turkey stands now, as far as a religious state, a secular state?
I think Turkey is now in the middle, let's say.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to program Inside in Videos English. Dear viewers, there is a leading and very, very important but sad development that one of the leading Turkish figures, scholar, nationalist leader, Fethullah Gulen of the Gulen movement has passed away and he has gone to Allah Almighty. So with this, there is an end of the Gulen movement. He was in United States of America, in the state of Pennsylvania. But he has left deep footprints on Turkey's political, religious, and national horizon. Why he was in United States, what led to his departure from Turkey, where he spent decades and decades, not only in religious movement, in political movement, in nationalist movement, became a very popular figure. And under the Gulen movement, there have been worldwide network of his charities, schools, hospitals, and many things. Today, discuss Fethullah Gulen, his departure, and what was his ideology, what were his thoughts, what led to his differences with the current Turkish political leadership. And after his departure now from the world, will people of Turkey remember him? To discuss this all and to understand Fethullah Gulen and his movement, today we are fortunately joined by a very renowned scholar, analyst and expert of international relations from Istanbul, Professor Ibrahim Karatas. Professor Ibrahim Karatas, very warm welcome to program Insight in Videos English. First, as you are an expert of international relations, had a very deep eye on Turkish politics, on regional politics, on international affairs. Tell us something about this Fethullah Gulen, who has died in American state of Pennsylvania, but he had spent long time in Turkey, and he was quite popular in Turkey's religious circle. He was a scholar. He was very popular figure in Turkish politics. Tell us something about Fethullah Gulen and his movement. Professor Ibrahim Karatas.
Yes, he began his career as a preacher in Turkey, but in the end, he finished it as the leader of a terrorist group because he attempted a faith coup. He was known as a preacher, and he had a religious congregation until that coup. It was known as the leader of a religious congregation, but with the coup, his main agenda, the secretive agenda, was revealed by himself and by his followers. He tried to seize the state while he was in Pennsylvania. He ordered his followers in the army as well as in police, and they attempted a coup, but with the resistance of people almost from all fractions of Turkish society, the coup failed. Since then, he was living in Pennsylvania, and it also created a problem, a biggest diplomatic problem between the U.S. and Turkey. But if we go back, he gathered a large amount of, followers in Turkey, and it was known as a congregation. It was the biggest one ever in history, maybe, and it was the richest one. This so-called congregation was collecting money from people as zakah, as fitr, as sadaqah, and there were also regular payments from rich people. He was also mainly targeting more clever people, more clever students, and he was, adding them to his group. He had two main targets. One was clever students. The other was rich students or rich people.
Who used to donate him.
Yes, donate him. And it was indeed an empire spreading all over the world. His schools were functioning in maybe more than 100 schools. And people thought that he was teaching Turkish in that schools. And he was teaching Islam in that schools. But later, it was understood that it had nothing with religion or with Turkish nationalism. It was just serving himself personally, because for his followers, he was above prophets even. He was such a figure for his followers. But when with the coup attempt and also some events just before the coup, people understood that it was not about religion. It was not about, serving the country. It was just to praise him, to show that he's an important figure between, creating a connection between religions through dialogue, etc. Now he's dead, and I guess that his empire is over from today on.
Professor Ibrahim Karatas, as you said, that his empire is over, and he had a network of schools in more than 100 countries. But tell us why he opted for the United States and why he lived over there despite Mr. Gulen being a nationalist leader, being a religious leader, and he wanted to include religious elements into the politics in Turkey. So his departure to the United States is a complete 90-degree U-turn from his ideas and thoughts. Tell us something that what led to his departure from Turkey to United States.
According to his own confessions, he said that he was collaborating with the CIA because in one of his speeches he says CIA is thinking that they are using me, but actually I am using them. He said, And we know that some of English teachers in his schools in other countries were CIA agents. So I think maybe not. It's not just my thought, but it is a known fact. He was aligning with some parts of CIA, not the whole one.
American establishment, we may say American establishment, exactly.
Yes, the establishment. America is a very powerful country, the superpower of the world. I think he was, personally, I'm speaking, he was worshipping to power. He sided with the most powerful country in the world so that he can, make greater his empire. I know that, for example, while he was in America, and there were so many followers also in America, they were, in contact with both parties, both Democrats and both Republicans. They were donating them with order of Fethullah Gülen. They were donating. So after also breaking with Mr. Erdoğan, I know that they started anti-Turkey lobbying in Capitol Hill. So it was all about power, and his alliance was not only with America; it was also with Israel. They had very good relations with Israel. Some of his followers were calling Israel as the lovely country in the south. Israel is in south of Turkey. So by collaborating with them, he thought that his throne will prevail and he will be a big figure, and with their help, he may realize his goals in Turkey, which is the seizure of the state. Before the coup, there was a term called parallel state in Turkey. Parallel state means, yes, we have governors, we have mayors, etc., but most of them were of FETÖ members. So they were, siphoning the money of the state and giving it to the FETÖ. It is estimated that they had more than $50 billion as revenue that was gathered from the state, from rich people, from ordinary people, and he should also...
$70 billion revenue for Gulen movement.
Yes, 50 billion, 50.
55, huge amount, really.
Yes.
So there is Professor Ibrahim Karatas that being a nationalist leader, being a religious leader, late Fethullah Gulen once upon a time was close to Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdoğan.
Yes.
Since Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is also a nationalist Turkish leader and is currently the president of Turkey, he is Islamist. And late Fethullah Gulen was also an Islamist. But what led to the differences between these two, despite the fact that their ideologies were same, nationalism and Islam?
I don't think that Fethullah Gülen is an Islamist. I think, there's a word. Gülen is not an Islamist. Yes, he was a nationalist. Okay, I can agree with that. But he looks like an Islamist. He deceived people. Yes, he was a preacher. He was
like Islamist, but deceived the people.
Yes.
Please continue.
Yes. It was just an instrument to deceive people, to get their money, to make larger his congregation, etc. Because at least I was aware that he was not an Islamist, because if you are an Islamic scholar, one sign of being a scholar, a respectable scholar, is not to lie, for example. But he was lying. And you can't be against the rules of Islam, which we call farz. They are compulsory. You should, obey them, and you should live according to that rules, and you should tell your followers to live according to them. But he abandoned many of that truths. For example, his scarves. He said it is just a detail. He also ordered his followers to drink wine, to hide themselves in army, in other places, etc. So I think he was just an egoist, let's say, because I think the most influential ideology is egoism. Some people just try to, benefit, do for themselves, not for the society, for religion, etc. So I also think that Muslims are expected to, share the burden of religion. Carry religion's responsibility of religion. But on the contrary, for Fethullah Gülen, it was that he was on religion. He used religion as a means to fulfill his own personal goals. So he was on religion. Religion was not on his shoulders. This is the difference. If someone looks carefully, they could understand it, but they understood it much later. Mr. Erdoğan had to collaborate with him because he thought that Fethullah Gülen is an Islamist like him. So if they collaborate, they can have a space in politics. But I guess that he understood this well before, and he had nothing to do against him, because Gülen himself says that Mr. Erdoğan told in one of meetings in 2004 that Erdoğan's main goal is to remove him, to eliminate Fethullah Gülen. This is what Gülen says. I guess that Erdoğan already knew who Fethullah Gülen is, because in 1996, when Necmettin Erbakan, he was the prime minister.
Erbakan, exactly, very popular Turkish politician and prime minister.
And Mr. Erdoğan was his mayor. And we know that what Fethullah Gülen did. He collaborated with his rival Bülent Ecevit. He never was with the Refah Party, which was a party of Necmettin Erdoğan. I am very sure that Erdoğan already knew who he was, what was his agenda, but he was an alone person. So he couldn't do anything to Fethullah Gülen and his group until he got power in 2012, 2013, etc. Then they started to fight. They were totally different, but in front of people, they look like each other.
So today you have been definitely, you spent the whole day, and when you heard this news, passing away of Mr. Fethullah Gulen, what were the sentiments and the feelings of people in different sections of the society, religious, ultra-religious, secular, nationalist? You might have also seen media. So what was reaction from within the Turkey over his death? People were expressing grief and sorrow, or they had some neutral sentiments?
I think there was no grief. I think 99% of Turkish people from all factions were happy with his death, because he was not a person of any faction. He had his own faction.
Own ideology.
Yes, own ideology, and it was against all kind of ideologies in Turkey. And when he tried to control the state in 2016, he saw all other factions as his enemies, as threats, because he ordered soldiers to kill people. There were 3 more coups in Turkey before, but in none of them civilians were killed. But in his coup, civilians were killed. So people were happy with them, with his death. Maybe his followers were not happy. I'm sure they were not happy because with his death, their network will collapse. And now I guess that they are thinking of what they will do from now on. At least his existence was, empowering them spiritually to resist the problems they face. But now they have to find new ways. Maybe some of them will surrender, some of them will confess that they are a member of FETÖ, or at least I can say that in general, the FETÖ threat is almost over in Turkey.
Professor Ibrahim Karatas, as you said, that Turkish people are not regretting. They have different feelings. Of course, when someone dies, of course, people are not happy. But at least in this particular case, as you said, that people had a different views. They had no attachment or love with him. But tell us that while in Turkey, the Gulen movement extended into different parts of the Muslim world, and its schools were also in Pakistan. Pakistan, despite being friend of Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, when Turkish president visited Pakistan a couple of years back, and on the request of Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, Turkish schools being run by Gulen movement were closed. So how he extended his movement's network into the different parts of the Muslim world, particularly in Pakistan?
I think he approached Pakistani brothers as it is a religious group, and he wants to train. He wants to educate Pakistani students so that they can be, good. Good people, people with good professions, etc. If someone from Pakistan or someone from any other Muslim country comes to Turkey and do something good, for example, open a school, people will embrace them. So their feelings, their religious, feelings were exploited by the group, I guess. But when, for example, when he goes to Pakistan or Bangladesh or another Muslim country, he goes there as a religious group. When he goes to America, their role, their face, their mask suddenly change, and they say, we are here because we believe in intercultural dialogue. We are
intercultural or interfaith dialogue. True.
Yes. So I know that when they were in South Africa, they commenced an intercultural dialogue, and they ordered their teachers not to teach Islam in South Africa or in any other country, because it is not their goal to spread Islam. But if you go to Pakistan, they would probably say, we are all brothers. We are working for Islam. We want to spread Islam anywhere in the world, etc. So the deception, illusion. There's a word in Arabic. It's called takiye. Maybe you know it. Takiye. Not acting seriously. Acting with a face mask. You deceive people. This is what they did. In everywhere, their role, their face was different. They were intercultural dialoguers in the West, and they were Muslim in Muslim world. But for example, in Russia, they were not allowed to open schools. And
in Russia.
Yes.
In Russia.
In Russia, the Russians sent them back to Turkey. Maybe in some other countries, they were also not allowed to build schools because they were seen as agents of America. But in general, they were almost everywhere, and they themselves confessed that they are acting together with CIA to spread moderate Islam. Moderate Islam. The key word is moderate Islam. So there is maybe radical Islam, all others are radicals, but FETÖ is a group that spreads moderate Islam. This is how they got heart of Americans, let's say. This is how they convinced that they can collaborate each other across the world. No other religious group can have so many schools across the world. If you try it, you will see obstacles by locals, by international powers, etc. But if all doors are open to you, then there is something wrong there.
So, Professor Ibrahim Karatas, do you think that after his departure, he was already living in the United States. Now, after his death, what will be the impact on Turkey's national politics? You think, as you said, that he was one of the factor of instability, and he was behind 2016 coup. So where Turkey stands now, right? Do you think in the days to come, Turkey will be able to get stability? Its economy is in terrible condition. Of course, there are challenges. Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is also facing a political challenge, a decline in votes, something like that. So where Turkey stands now politically?
Yeah, Fethullah Gülen and his group was only one problem. There are so many other problems. And this problem, and FETÖ problem, was already less impactful. So they were not so influential as they were before. So with his death, the threat is almost over. I don't think that they will prepare new plots against the government, against people. They will probably act individually, not as a huge network. There may be some big or small fractions inside FETÖ group, but I think in the course of time, it will disappear from this history. In current politics, I think, the main problem is economy. It's better than last year, but still problems continue. There are also external problems like Gaza, for example. Turkey is actively involved, actively pursuing what is going on there. Yes, because of economy, Mr. Erdoğan is losing votes. Nowadays, loss is almost over. He's trying to recover to some extent. He has some little recover if he can. Repair the economy within 2 years. Maybe he can get the votes again, because in Turkey, maybe always the opposition has never been an alternative to Mr. Erdoğan. If Erdoğan is losing, it is because of his economy, other problems, etc. But it's not because the opposition is performing well. Your opposition is always stable. If Erdoğan can boost its position with economy, with other developments, I think he still has the biggest chance. If an election is just made, will be made tomorrow.
So Mr. Erdoğan will win or he will lose if elections take place?
He will win. He will still win, because there's no strong alternative, a strong rival that will compete.
There's no strong rival. So do you think, you have been saying he was on extremely other line of the politics, but despite that, he had network of schools over more than 100 countries. He was, of course, he had a specific group of his followers. What do you think? After his death, will he be remembered in Turkey's religious and political circles, or people will forget him and his ideology?
People will certainly forget him, because it is a characteristic of being human being. You forget everything, otherwise you can't live with what you experienced. Especially bad experiences are forgotten very easily. You have to forget it so that your life will not turn into hell. But let me tell you something else. This is very important. Unfortunately, his coup in 2016 was spiritually successful. His coup.
Spiritually successful.
Yes. Okay, he failed. His soldiers were arrested. They were jailed. Maybe some of them were killed. I don't know. But I know that not many of them were killed. Maybe 25 or less. But because of him, people don't trust religious people. People don't trust religious congregations. They say that, what if this new or the other congregation will do the same? If they grow inside the state, will they try to control the state? Will they attempt a coup? Aren't they preachers? Aren't they there to teach religion to or children? So since maybe in last 10 years, less people have sent their children to religious groups to learn Quran, to learn Islamic knowledge, etc. And now the state has automatically secularized. It was not like that in the past. People were worried about their children. They were sending them to, mosques, to religious groups, to Quran courses, etc. But now less children go there because parents fear that if the place they sent is like like a group which is similar to the Fethullah, will my children be arrested in the future? Will he attempt a coup? Will he be an enemy of the state? So there is mistrust against religious people. So mostly not the state, because within one day the coup was the coup was over. It was failed, but its impact, the impact on religion, on people's faith is still continuing. So that's why I say it was successful.
Where Turkey stands now in the Muslim world vis-a-vis some of the most serious challenges, including the issue of Palestine and the aggression of Israel against Gaza. So where Recep Tayyip Erdoğan led Turkey stands as far as Israel aggression is concerned against Gaza, Palestine, and Lebanon. So is Turkey having soft corner towards Israel or having principled tough position on the current crisis?
For the moment, he's trying to oppose Israel with diplomatic tools. Because he knows that, as in the past during Arab Spring, he sided with supported popular uprisings, but in the end, all these uprisings failed, and authoritarian regimes remained in power, and they all cut relations with Turkey, and Turkey as a state suffered from such relations. Its relations with the UAE, with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, etc., were not so good. They were stalled. Even economic relations were cut. Exports to such countries drops dramatically. So he wants to lead. He wants to do something good for the Ummah, let's say, but he knows that he's alone. Maybe Qatar, maybe Pakistan, these 2-3 countries can come together, but their power is limited, so they have. He's aware that he will again be left alone. So he's trying to do without enraging other Muslim countries as well as Western countries. But I know that Mr. Erdoğan is a pious Muslim. His side is very clear. But being, a righteous, a good person, a pious man, doesn't mean that you will solve all problems of the Muslim world. For this, you need, power, military strength, economic strength. You should act according to your own strength. We are sure about seriousness of Mr. Erdoğan, but he's just a man, and there is no longer Ottoman Empire. So I think he can't do much about the massacre, the genocide ongoing in Gaza, unless if Israel direct attacks Turkey, the situation will, of course, change. But for the moment, only with wars, only maybe with economic means. For example, export-import transactions between Turkey is zero with Israel at the moment. That is what he can do at much.
Lastly, we would like to seek your comment. As you said that his late Mr. Gulen has been collaborating with the American CIA to destabilize Turkey's regime and to overthrow Recep Tayyip Erdoğan's government. So after his death, do you think one of the biggest major threat to the political stability in Turkey has come to an end? And you think that in the days to come, now there will be any external threat to Turkey's political stability, as in the past, Mr. Gulen used to be one of the leading factors. So
this that was one of the biggest threats, but this threat was already eliminated.
Neutralized.
In July 15, and their power was gradually diminishing. It has already, come to the lowest level. On the decline. Externally, if Erdoğan, Erdoğan's politics mainly clash with those of America. For example, in Russia, and in the war between Russia and Ukraine, he remained neutral, and in Israeli case, he is opposing Israel's attacks on Palestinians. That may create a problem. External, I'm talking about external threats, but such problems are not enough to topple him down. What Americans or others can do is to invest in opposition and make them win in elections. So a direct, coup, etc., is not possible. And the main threat, not from external powers, but is internal powers, might also pose a threat. Maybe we can talk this later. We have also internal problems that will, challenge his power at the moment.
Tell us, the international viewers who are watching now, where Turkey stands now as far as a religious state, a secular state, or what path Turkey is standing and adopting now under Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. As you rightly mentioned, that there is a portion of society which is not sending its children to Islamic schools to learn Quran, Islamic teachings. So do you think now Turkey is on the path of secularism and modernism, or still it is on conservative values?
I think Turkey is now in the middle, let's say.
In the middle?
Yes. In the past, I think it was more conservative, and religious congregations were working hard to change people toward conservatism. But with coup, and not only Fethullah, there are also some other religious groups that were in line with Fethullah and made people disappointed. They also, shocked people. So at least the new generation is growing without any religious thought, any religious education. So, but I know that people are seeing that something bad is happening in Turkey.
Something bad.
For the new generation, let's say.
New generation thing.
Yeah, for new generation, and some people see this, and because, as I said, within 10 years, many people grew without any religious education, and I don't think that. They are the ideal generation we expected. But the newer one, maybe those in 10, 12 years old, are looked a bit more carefully by their parents, because my opinion is that if there is no religion, let's say, let's remove Islam from our life totally, suppose there is no religion, people will create another religion, because people can't live without any rules. We are not animals. Should have something to follow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, to be guided. And Turkish people is using Islam as a guide, but since because of the coup, let's say, people are keeping away from religious groups. Other alternatives have filled minds of young people.
Okay, thank you so much indeed, Professor Ibrahim Karatas, a very prominent scholar, analyst, who spoke to Program Insight in V News English and comprehensively spoke about late Mr. Fethullah Gulen, his movement, and his impact on Turkey's religious circles, his impact on Turkey's political circles, as well as he also spoke about where Turkey stands now, on a strong religious path or on a secular path. And Ibrahim Karatas said that Turkey is in the middle. And Turkey is also trying to overcome the challenge of economy and other internal challenges. Thank you so much once again, Ibrahim Karatas, for speaking to program Inside in V News English. And dear viewers, till our next program, Allah Hafiz and goodbye from studios.